All right, this is Brian Wright. This is the Hive Podcast 2.0. I got my guy, Ryan Leonard, on today.
What's up, everyone?
How you doing, man?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. So people are going to ask, like, who's this dude? So the logo we've got in the gym is also on your hoodie, and that represents one of your multiple business holdings.
Yes, sir.
We've circled each other for a long time. We started connecting through different things, and we were talking as of late. And the main reason I brought you on is because you are legitimately just a local guy that has done good. And I speak a lot to the people in the gym, whatever, in general. Doesn't matter where you come from. Doesn't matter what your background is. You take advantage of opportunity. You up your skills, you stay focused, don't get distracted, don't let people drag you down. It's pretty much sky's the limit. You can do whatever you want to do with this life.
Yep, absolutely. 100%.
And you're from Neptune.
Neptune City, yep.
So just give a little background, who you are, where you come from. Because for me, the interesting conversation for me here with this is, how do you come from Neptune, go through high school there, you go into the military, you come out, and I'm sure you've had your struggles because of all this stuff, and how do you overcome that stuff? So you're from Neptune.
Yep. So,
born and bred?
So I was born in Wanamassa, moved to Tinton Falls till 5th grade, and then I ended up in Neptune City. So.
I went to Wanamassa.
Oh, yeah?
A long-ass time ago,
nice.
though. I went in the 70s.
I was born on Rainier Avenue. I lived there till I was probably a year old, 2 years old, probably.
Wow. I live 2 blocks over from there now.
Oh, really?
I live in Interlaken.
Oh, awesome. Yep. So, yeah, I was born there, moved to Neptune 5th grade, started 6th grade at Woodrow Wilson School. Grew up playing
Was
sports.
that a big deal, though, to move from that area to Neptune then? Because Neptune's like hit or miss depending on the timeline.
Not so much because it's Neptune City, but obviously we interact with everyone. But Neptune City was a little bit different than Neptune for sure.
Yeah.
It's a little different when you get to high school. Everybody kind of merges. Neptune City is a little more sheltered, but everybody merges and comes together in the long run. So started in Neptune City, ended up going to Neptune High School. I went to high school, but I didn't go to high school.
Okay. You were enrolled, but you weren't participating.
I would go. I played 3-point competitions for most of the classes all day, and then I would go home. But
why is that, though?
I have a severe ADHD, which I didn't know then. So it was hard for me to pay attention to a subject if I wasn't interested in it.
So that's like an undiagnosed problem at the time.
Correct. Yep, at the time. So
I can't tell you how many people I run into that's a big thing.
Yeah,
like that's a big thing, especially depending upon it's a lot of the different school districts. Neptune, for some reason, you're probably one of like 5 people I know, and I only know like 6 or 7 that went there that all had that problem, and it was undiagnosed, and the school didn't do anything for them. It was kind of like, okay, they just treat you as if you're there and you're a problem.
Well, in my case, they tried to help me. They gave me late in, early out, and I still cut like 94 days to my senior year. But I didn't cut to go do stupid shit. I went to work. I would go work for my father. He owned a detail shop in Freehold, and I would go there. I'd cut, go there, or end up going to a job to make money. So, I just wasn't interested in the topics. Still got close to straight A's when I did apply myself, but just couldn't.
It just wasn't your thing.
It wasn't me. Yeah, exactly. But I started the clothing and fashion in high school. I made like they're doing the custom Jordans and shoes and stuff now. I was doing that in 11th grade, 10th and 11th grade.
Where's the inspiration for that?
Just Neptune's a fashion show every day. So if you went in there, shoes were dirty, and it's a shame, but when we were there, it was a fashion show. So Fabulous was out, all the rappers were out. Everybody had new jerseys, new shoes. Everything had to be fresh, or you got stung walking through the hallway. So that was kind of how I grew up. Is I was always a step ahead, or a fashion ahead, or had more shoes, or whatever. That was my style. That was my expression at the time. Was, damn, he didn't repeat a pair of shoes for 90 days. Like that was me as a kid.
That's cool though. I mean, that's a creative solution to a pretty common problem.
Yeah, and I didn't have money like that, but I always worked, and my thing at the time, I had no responsibility, so I just buy sneakers. So
that's awesome.
I would make apparel to match the sneakers, and
you end up in the military, huh?
Yes.
How'd you end up in the military? What made you sign up?
I'll be honest with you. I was against the military at first because I feel like you kind of sell your soul in a sense to the cause at the time. But as I got older, I wanted to push myself and to get out of just the norm. A lot of it is in New Jersey's just bars and drinking and going out and wasting a lot of money. So I had to get out of here.
How old were you?
I was 21 when I went into boot camp.
Who gave you the idea?
I kind of just looked at it myself, like, what can I do? How can I push myself?
That's
Yep.
That's different. Most people with the military, they either had a recruiter really hammered them in high school, or somebody in the family. It's random. I don't know too many people I heard are like, I just want to push myself.
I did have a recruiter after I sought him out, and then they're on you.
But the first step was you.
Yeah, my grandfather was in the military. I knew, there's a lot of discipline involved, and I kind of felt like I was missing that camaraderie at the time, in a sense. I was always a cool kid, popular kid, whatever you want to call it, but I didn't have that niche. I felt like that family, you know what I mean? So I figured I could push myself to the limit.
I call that you're in a crowded room, but you feel alone.
Yeah, and not for bad reasons. Just
sometimes you don't connect.
Different. I'm still in a crowded room and I'm alone most of the time.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't connect.
Yeah, exactly. So I was always an entrepreneur, I think, before I even understood what an entrepreneur was.
Yep.
And that was the thing that set me apart. Like, well, I don't want to do all the same shit everybody's doing. I want to be different. So
somebody said to me once, you're an entrepreneur when you are unemployable.
Yeah, that was one of my biggest struggles. Even my mom used to get on me all the time, like, when are you gonna find a job? When are you gonna get a job with benefits?
But the thing is, when you have that entrepreneur streak, that paycheck feels like a handcuff.
Yeah,
because it's like, okay, so you come and work these hours, I'm going to pay you this money, but as an entrepreneur, you're like, so I'm only going to make that money. So no matter what I do in these hours, I can only make that, and then what? Maybe you'll give me a raise at some point.
Yeah.
So it's like you feel like you're a prisoner to the job,
Yep.
and I don't disrespect anybody that has a good job and gets paid. It's just some people are wired differently. Like some people feel like they're losing money when they're making money because the opportunity, and then when you have that hustle in you where you want to be in control of your own hours and you want to be able to push it as far as you can. That's the entrepreneur life, and that's different.
Yep. I mean, it's not so much to me now the money. Money's great, having money makes things.
It's the freedom,
it's the
dude.
Freedom. It's 3:00. We're chilling, having fun, doing what we want to do, and inspiring others. It's the freedom.
Dude, I used to sit on the bus, no joke. Started probably 3rd or 4th grade. I can remember sitting on the bus, looking at people in cars, and I was like, I cannot wait to be free from this. I felt like a prisoner in the system.
Yep.
And then when I had to get jobs, like the same way, I was like, it's not the money, it's not the education, it's that inability to do what I want with my time.
Exactly. And yeah, you're working for someone else at the end of the day. You're spending your time exchanging for the what? And no offense to somebody that makes an hourly wage, but your life is only worth at the time $16, $15 an hour. Like I'm worth way more than that, whether I find it today, tomorrow, whatever. I know I'm worth more than that.
And I think a lot of times too, those numbers you're throwing out, those are the stepping stones to learn how to develop and get that freedom. You don't have to be there forever. You can make changes if you recognize things within yourself and then you pursue them. You can make changes, but until you've turned it profitable, you got to make money.
Yep. And just I always reflect on a lot of those jobs, like even at my house now, like I've been the landscaper, I've been the truck driver, I've had a CDL, I've done water and sewer, I've done every shit job, and no disrespect, but every hard job, I should say, that I didn't like, but I still learned so many different things where you go into the world now and a lot of people don't have those skill sets or even close to those even relatable.
It's not even that though. It's like the grit of getting through those things. When you have to do the things that are jobs that you have to make money so you can pay for yourself, so that you could afford your lifestyle, doing it straight up. And then when you get the opportunity to do the thing you love, you appreciate it that much more. That's why I tell my fighters all the time, man, like the biggest thing, you could ask any one of my guys. I always ask, where are you at in life with like school, job, that stuff? Because I get a lot of young guys that are 18 and 24 years old, and they think there's going to be this magical path where they come in, they're like, oh, I want to be in the UFC. And they think that's like a 12 to 18 month process. And I'm like, yo, man, it takes, and if you're coming in, forget about it. If you're 18 and 24 years old and you've never played a sport successfully before in your life, we're starting at zero.
Yeah.
We have to build the engine. We got to give the skill set. You've got to get the experience. This is years of work. And how are you going to take care of yourself? What are you going to live at home in your mom's basement and mooch off people, or are you going to take care of yourself?
Well, that's the added pressure of having to pay the bills. It's one thing to fight all day, train all day, eat right. That's hard in itself. That's very hard in itself. But then support yourself in this economy and everything that's going on is double hard.
But the fighters that have done the best for me, and even fighters that I've trained long term, the best moments in their careers were the ones where they had jobs, where they were in school, or school jobs and training.
Yep.
I always find that when you have to do something you don't really like to get by, that when you start doing that stuff that you like or that you see the opportunity to be able to do to take care of yourself forever, you appreciate it so much more and you put more of yourself into it. It's that drive, that grit, that recognizing the two sides of it. That's that balance that where I find the success comes from. And it's funny because you're saying as an entrepreneur, but it's the same thing that we find just on the fight side. Forget about the business side. But when you do that, when you've got to go dig a ditch to put food on the table, when you can do that other thing, you're like, finally, got it.
Yeah.
And then you hold on to it tighter.
But that gives you the goal to retain, to obtain that goal, to get to that point where that ditch is no longer there. You filled that ditch.
But no, that ditch is still there.
It's still there in your mind. Yeah.
No, but it's there. Because if you start to think you made it and you stop looking over your shoulder and doing the thing, there's some other guy going to put you back in that ditch.
Yeah, get complacent. Yeah,
you can't get complacent.
That's very true.
So
you got to learn from it all. Take the good with the bad, and sometimes the bad at the time is the good in the future.
Of course.
That's really what you find out is the struggle. If there's no struggle, there's nothing to relate it to. So how are you going to know you're doing good or bad if you haven't done bad?
And I've told everybody all the time, this is like one of my main ones, is like, if you like who you are and where you are right now, don't ever get upset about where you've been. Because a lot of people carry judgment of the fact that they come from different choices and they don't respect themselves in the moment, even though it's like you survived all that. You wouldn't be who you are today if you didn't go through all that stuff.
You missed a couple free throws. It is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, that's the Babe Ruth analogy. Babe Ruth had the strikeout record and the home run record, but everybody only knows he had the home run record.
Yep. Same thing with Jordan. He said, how many shots did he miss versus how many did he make? You know what I mean?
He just made the motherfucker shots, man. That's the thing. Exactly. You can strike out all you want, but if you win the game a lot, that's all they remember.
I've struck out a lot too. I still strike out, all the time. But it's getting up and doing it again. You know?
Bring it back to the military though, because that experience. I'm curious. So how do you? So you're going from Neptune into the military. You're out of high school. You're in your 20s. Where do they put you?
So I ended up going to where did I go first? Fort Sill. I went to Fort Sill for my basic training.
Where is that? What state?
That's in Oklahoma, which is I never want to go back there again. Ever. No disrespect, but that place sucks.
One of my fighters ended up, a guy who's trained me 15 years ago, ended up there, and he stayed there. He's on a chemical weapons detachment there.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. So it's I ended up saying that last time I said I never want to go there. That's where I mobilized out of after I finished everything, went to AIT, which is your job training. I went to Fort Leonard Wood for that, and then I went back to Fort Sill to mobilize to go to Iraq.
How long were you in Iraq?
I was there a little over like 400 days and change, like 405, 406, something like that.
How does that? What's that like?
Crazy, man. It's bittersweet. It was the hardest and easiest thing I've ever done at the same time. Like you knew where to be. You had two uniforms. Be on time. Be in uniform. Do what you have to do. And get it done. And
you have no distractions, basically.
Yeah, get shot at, mortared, and rocket attacked in between. But, but it's the thing about the military again is the structure. They know what they want from you. You have to produce. You make sure to keep yourself fit, keep everything in order, and it's simplified in that aspect where I don't have to go pick out what color shoes I want today. I don't have to pick out my outfit. I know what I'm wearing, but then
you don't
again,
have to figure out where you're going to eat, where you're going to sleep, what are you going to wear. You just have to do your job.
Yep, do your job, do it well.
Don't die.
Same time, same place. Whatever you got to do and get it done. But and don't die in between. But it taught me a lot about myself, and then it taught me a lot about what I learned prior to going to the military. Like we were saying before, as a kid, learning how to do laundry and those things that people don't know how to do. The things you were forced to do as a kid you hated. made all the difference when I was deployed by myself in the middle of a fucked up place.
Yeah.
You know?
How is, like, with an entrepreneurial mindset though, how do you go into a place where it's literally they tell you what to do all day long?
Well, the fast forward of all that time, I started my brand in Iraq. So I had a carpet, like a throw rug, and I drew the state of New Jersey on it with New Jersey's and finest on the rug. And I said, anybody watching this, like, you'll have people comment when you post this, but all my battle buddies were like, what are you doing when you get home? And I already had the plan for a clothing company. So I just would write it everywhere. I draw it on the walls.
So you did your time.
Yeah.
You did your time.
Yeah. And I came home, and within the first year, I started the clothing line, but that started from the ideas I had in Iraq.
Clothing line, the first business you started out of the military?
Yes. Yep. So had that idea, pushed that, made the shirts, learned about screen printing and everything.
That's how you were taking care of yourself?
That, and I was a landscaper. I did all those other odd jobs I was telling you. I had a CDL at the time, Class A, so I would drive. I had another business with my dad doing like removal, hauling, and all of that too. But that was my first independent business that I started.
And then that starts you on this path of now you're like a serial business owner.
Yep. So
I know you manufacture stuff. Is clothing the first thing that got you looking at manufacturing?
Yeah, it was actually clothing and the little recharge battery cards, the battery packs. The little mini ones.
So you're like the Alibaba guy.
I mean, I got my first idea on Ali, and then that stemmed into just going direct to the manufacturer.
Yeah, but that's like you could either become a serial Alibaba customer, or you kind of get your foot in the door, then you start to say, because they're selling you the same way stores are selling
100%.
you.
Yep.
And that's just another store for a different level of business.
Correct.
So you can go behind that too.
And that's what we do. I have my own, now I have to fast forward through all that. I have my own staff in Shanghai, and they'll go to the factories on my behalf. But it's NJF Worldwide Shanghai division. It's not them being a broker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but it all started there and seeing what they could provide. And I'm like, well, there's a demand for a lot of stuff.
Every time I got into manufacturing products too, because I would buy boxing gloves, and I'm looking at this and I'm going, I know this stuff doesn't cost this.
Yeah.
How do I figure out? So I would backtrack stuff. And I literally, at one point, I bought gloves from Ringside, and I backtracked it all the way back to the factory in Pakistan.
Yep.
And I was like, hey, how can I cut a deal with you that you make me their stuff at their cost?
Okay.
And then just put my logo on it instead of their logo on it.
Yep.
And they didn't want to do it, but I kept hounding them. And I started making my own boxing gloves. I don't even want to give the prices up for what I was paying, but it's pennies on the dollar compared to what they're paying. Because when you buy something at retail, you're paying that. So you have the cost of manufacturing over there, then you have the shipping.
Yep.
But then you have
taxes.
that broker, the taxes, you have, but then you're paying the marketing budget. You're paying all the bureaucracy budget of these large companies are built into all this stuff. So $100 pair of glove, they may be paying $12 to get it made, but then all the inflated costs, whatever. And then you have the wholesale and the retail and all these different prices. And I just was like, yo, I want to cut this to the chase and I want to get this as cheap as possible. And then I started making my own stuff and I was selling it for a while. I got out of manufacturing my own gear because what year was this? It was like the end of the Silver Star casting affliction era, because shipping went nuts.
Went crazy.
Shipping like quadrupled. And then now it's like, it's 100 times what I was paying back then. I used to be able to DHL stuff. It was like $20 for like
Express.
a box. And now it's like $450 for a box.
Yeah, we get crushed on Express just because I send all my samples Express. So
yeah.
Like $800 in shipping insane. For a $400 product. You know what I mean?
And then during COVID, you had containers.
18,000.
Oh my God.
I was before COVID hit, I was paying $4,800 to bring in a full 45-foot high cube or 40-foot high cube.
Yep.
And it went up to like 18,000, 22,000 at one point.
And this is the stuff that I try and explain to people when they start busting my balls over the cost of things at times. And I'm like, you've got to understand. And that's the other side too of it. And I'll come back on, because when you come from a strong local town, like say a Neptune, and I'm not just trying to put a target on Neptune, it's a lot of places where people don't leave these towns a lot, and they don't look beyond the borders of it, and they don't understand necessarily how the economy actually works, and how shipping works, and how corporations work, and how taxes work, and how tariffs work, and all these different things. And they're like, well, why can't you just give me cheaper? It's like, because it's not cheap anymore.
They're not educated on the process of what it takes to get these here either.
It's just a lack of exposure at times.
Yep.
And then misconceptions over how things are done.
I'm going to give you something for $50 if I paid 100.
Exactly.
I mean, like, it's crazy.
And people don't understand that at times. And that's the thing where I think it's so important that no matter where you're from, you've got to get outside of that bubble. Because I find a lot of times when I talk to people and they don't like what I'm saying, they just keep shrinking the bubble until it just makes sense to them.
Exactly.
They don't care about anybody anymore because they just don't want the pain of reality.
Correct. And I think that's back to the military thing. I think that's what helped me the most is to get out of the bubble, to see how the government wastes our money, number one, but really how the world works outside of what is fed to us.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And really see, like, half the stuff we're told is bullshit, and you don't see that unless you work for that type of system and that cog. It's a racket. So war's a racket. So I saw how they were making money. I took that skill that I learned from them running a $3.5 billion warehouse in the middle of nowhere, and turned it on my own. So I'm like, I'd take that out of it, but it's crazy. People don't understand.
One thing too, if you never leave New Jersey, let alone leave the country, you don't realize the mentality that we have is very unique.
It is. And that's one of the other things I learned in boot camp. It's crazy how they don't fuck with people from Jersey and New York. They all think we're in the mob of some sorts, but they all know we move differently.
We move a little bit faster. We curse a little bit more. We're quick to like throw hands if it's necessary.
Yeah. We expect, even if it's a low standard for a lot of people, we still expect a standard. Like most people don't.
We're very combative.
Yeah. 100%.
We're combative. It's just anyone I know from New Jersey or New York that goes out west in particular, they all thrive.
Yeah, 100%.
Because they take no shit. You take a guy who's soft here. They're hard in most places. It's so wild.
You're used to defending yourself in Jersey, though, because somebody's either out to get you, usually.
But you expect it.
Crabs in a bucket. Yeah, but you
just expect
your guard up. They're like, hey, somebody holds the door for you out there. You're like, what the fuck you want from me?
Yeah, it's like, what did I do? No, I've never forget. I was driving, and I pulled up to a toll booth in Ohio, and the lady was like super nice. And I was like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
Are they going to like are the cops waiting for me on the other side?
Wrong,
this is like not normal. Even PA, I'll hit PA. You hit a toll booth in PA and they're like, hey, how's your day? And I'm like, fuck you. What do you want?
Yeah, exactly. It's really true, but it's a gift and a curse. Sometimes we're a little too much, I feel like, in certain places, but it gives you that edge that people don't have.
But experience, but again, the more time you get outside of this bubble and the more you do interact, you'll start to, you see the strengths and the weaknesses of what we've got. But you've got to get out. You've got to get out to see that.
Agreed.
And, that's like the military, one of the ones, like with Iraq in particular, I've talked to a couple people from Iraq, and one of the common themes that I get when they talk about the military and they talk about war, especially the Iraq war, because at that time, everybody was like, we're just going to bring freedom to these people. They're going to love us, and they're going to want democracy. They're going to want elections. No, they didn't give a shit about any of that stuff.
Bullshit. They don't care.
They were upset we took away the consistency of their life.
Yeah, because most of the time our government is pushing a bullshit agenda. And like a lot of the things that you don't know or people don't know is that we raped and pillaged a lot of those places, and then we're like, you're the terrorists. You know what I mean? And in a lot of instances, and it goes both ways, but they blew up their water treatment plants when they said they were going to help them and redevelop. Like, there's a lot of shit that people don't realize.
Is that a corporate interest issue?
Yeah, they own everything. I mean, it's KBR, Mantech, who else was it? Blackwater. They all own all the contracts.
Yeah, I watched a documentary on the Afghan war.
Yep, same thing, same company.
And I was so just like appalled at the waste.
Oh, it's great. I watched physically. So, say a Ford Explorer here costs us $60,000, right?
Yeah.
Cost you $200,000 to get to Iraq, up armor it, bring it there, whatever. Got a flat tire, they would blow the vehicle up right in the middle of the wherever we were at and just get another vehicle. That's taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
I mean, billions of dollars wasted for no reason. We foot that bill.
They had a guy was being interviewed. He was in Afghanistan, and he brought them to a landfill, and all it was desks.
Yeah.
And he said literally they were bringing over containers that were supposed to be going to schools, and they were just emptying the containers directly into the landfill.
Yeah.
They didn't even try to bring them anywhere. They literally, container came off the ship, went to the thing, and they just dumped thousands and thousands of desks that were 4 to 5 times more money than if you bought them here.
Well, because you need more deaths now. Now we need more money. Now they blew up. They got, but the thing about that is they put them in burn pits, which now the soldiers were inhaling the whole time they were deployed, and now they have to go back to the VA because they have lung problems.
And the one thing I'll say, though, about all of this crap, because we're sitting here and we're talking about the weirdness, corporations, government, politics, all this stuff. I think the only thing that causes this all not to implode are the men in service.
Yeah, for sure.
Because as much as the corporate interests are profiting and whatever, you still have men 18 to late 20s that are American, born and bred, raised the way we're raised. It's not like they're the evil empire raping and pillaging. They're coming in, they're doing their job. You have bad apples in everything.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, it's just guys doing a job.
Yep.
And they don't want to fuck up these countries.
It is. It's
and
not,
they don't want to fuck up the fellow man.
Yep.
They're just doing their job.
And that I'll reiterate that too. It's not that we're bad. The agenda was bad. That we have to support and work for, because after you sign that paper and you swear the oath, the government owns you just like it would own this bottle.
Well, you go to
of water.
jail if you don't follow an
Yeah,
order.
you go to Leavenworth. You have UCMJ, which is a completely different military justice system, Uniform Code of Military Justice. You lose your rank, you lose your titles, you lose your money, everything. If you don't toe the line, they say. But it wasn't bad people. It was a horrible agenda.
The system was fucked up.
Yeah, that we had to carry out on behalf of a fucked up system. So yeah, I mean it's.
I mean, Saddam Hussein was not a good guy.
No,
but we didn't have the right solution.
Yeah, and the Ba'ath Party still had structure no matter what. You know what I mean? Like, it still kept structure to that country. Once that we fucked that all up, it's still fucked up. You know
how do you combat cultures?
We shouldn't even put our nose.
But how do we combat a culture that's been around thousands of years versus a country that's been around hundreds of years?
You know why? We should just stay home. There's so much here to do. It's so much. Now those same soldiers are homeless and addicted to drugs and addicted to have PTSD, can't get the help they need.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I have this one guy that keeps coming through, and we try and get him to stay the course. And I had a long talk with him. He was in the Special Forces. He's the last of his whatever group they call it to survive. They all killed themselves.
Yeah.
And he's one step away, man. Yeah. This dude shows up constantly dealing with alcoholism. He's got horrible problems with his knees from jumping out of airplanes. His back is all busted. He's a mess. And I asked him, I said, how do you go from being an operator to this? And he said the problem was the military is your everything.
And you have nothing.
It's your brothers, your sisters, your family. They're telling you what to do and how to do it. And then one day they're like, okay, goodbye.
So that's the biggest thing they talk about when you demobilize is reintegration. Is, like I said before, you knew where to be, you knew what to eat, you knew what to say, you knew what to do. You have to do that on your own, and nobody's steering that ship for you anymore. And you were a hardened soldier, and that shit's hard as hell.
So how do you do it?
Life.
So how do you do it?
I'm a little different.
But dude, you come from Neptune, you go into the military. Mm-hmm. You basically went and joined a big old universal, like global gang, and then your gang says you're out.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
I mean, I struggled in the beginning. I actually sold weed and shit when I came back. I made those mistakes because I didn't know what to do.
Why'd you want to do that? Or why did you not why, but why do you end up doing that?
Just to make ends meet and to make the money I thought I needed, because I didn't hone in my actual talents at the time until I started doing more and learning more and teaching myself more.
What pulls you out? The
business, really. I finally had a goal, and then my brother passed away. That gave me more of a purpose and be like, this, I'm not living to just sell pot and get by and be cool and have nice rims and shit. Like I was hood rich, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I look back on that, and it gave me a lot of tools, learning how to sell, wholesale, market. I used to go to California and get my own shit. So it's just like going to China. I go to this connection. So I learned things, but that wasn't for me at the time, And I ended up, getting a felony for it. I fucked up, got caught, and it pushed me into a direction where I couldn't drive anymore. I couldn't get jobs, so I had to provide for myself.
Yeah.
And that's where I learned for the T-shirts and stemmed into everything else.
And man, that kind of speaks to it too. Is like, shit, people make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I have people that'll shit on me on something I did 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't go to jail or anything,
yeah.
But people shit on me on like basic decisions I may have fucked up 20 years ago. I'm going to be 50.
Yeah.
I'm going to be 50 in a couple weeks. The craziest shit is when I was 18 and what I thought 50 was going to be and what it is totally different. I feel like I'm an 18-year-old in an old man's body mentally. But the thing is, like, when I was 24, I opened up my first business and I thought I knew stuff. And then at 34, I'm like, man, how the hell did I get here?
Yeah.
I didn't know anything.
Yep.
But at 34, I thought I knew something. At 44, I was like, looking at 34-year-old me going, what the fuck was I thinking? I didn't know anything.
But that's why you'll be successful, because you keep learning and evolving.
Well, I think all of us, though, I think I don't think there's too many people that have the ability to look back at 10 years prior and be like, oh, I really knew what the hell. I think we all deep down know how stupid we are all the time. Like, we evolve. I mean, just experience forces it. Even if you're sitting in a room by yourself, you know that room better in 20 years than you did at 10.
Yeah, 100%. But usually from some kind of mistake. Like you said, we make mistakes to evolve. So,
but the thing is about those mistakes, you don't go looking for them, but you got to accept when they happen. You got to accept it. You fucked up.
Own it.
Own it. And then if you can learn from it, that mistake maybe isn't a mistake anymore. Maybe it's just part of that stepping process. Maybe it's just another rung on the ladder to where I want to be.
But a bigger mistake, which is not a mistake when you continue to do these things, is not acknowledging it, not saying sorry or making it right, and continue on that path with blinders on. That's the difference. Is you got to recognize the mistake to change it and not make it a mistake anymore.
But the thing is, that's being afraid of the mistake. And now you're making a choice to live in fear while you're pretending it's something else. But if anything, the two things I've learned that you got to let go of is you got to let go of fear of failure, and you really, really got to let go of the idea of judgment. You got to live analytical, man. Because everyone's going to say something bad. Like, the they, in air quotes here, are always, you win.
Like, who are they?
But if you win, you're lucky. If you lose, it's because you suck. No matter what you do, you can't win.
I get it all the time.
So
COVID helped you out. I'm like, all right.
But you made a choice during COVID.
I caught the ball.
Yo, I read a hand raised. Who benefited from COVID? I'm one of them.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? COVID was all right. I'm completely respectful to people that COVID fucked up. COVID devastated my business. But the round 2 of that, holy shit, changed my life.
Correct.
Changed my life.
Same.
People needed a business like mine, and I just happened to be in it. And I am so thankful and fortunate that I was able to recognize what was going on, work with it, and develop something in a way I had never been able to develop it before. And it created the foundation for everything I got now.
But that's why, certain species are still here and certain ones aren't. We adapted.
Yeah.
We figured out, look at the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs were massive, huge. They all died, but the little guys lived because they evolved. They adapted. They figured out, shit, this is a bad situation. Everything's burning around us. How do we adapt? And that's what we did, and we were there before that.
But you got to be looking, and you got to be prepared.
You got to be proactive. You got to be. We were in those lanes. We might have been 20 cars back, but once it came to that time, hey,
but you know
it's our turn.
The funny part though is, even my wife and I were talking about this last week. I was like, if COVID didn't happen, I'd still be in the lane I'm in. I don't know where I'd be right now. Maybe I would be better. Maybe I'd be worse. I don't know. I can't change things, but all I know is I would still be doing what I'm doing. At what level, I'm not sure. But when you do what you're supposed to be doing, you just keep doing it.
Correct.
And that's why you were saying before, it's not the money thing. Everybody has a particular hustle that they identify with and are most comfortable with. I always say it's not about the winning and losing as much as you gotta live in a way and you gotta compete in a way that you can be satisfied with.
Yep. You gotta play your game too.
Yeah.
And what is it? Comparison is a thief of joy. Like, there's always gonna be a faster car, a bigger house, better chick, shinier diamond. You know, it's always something better. But are you okay with what you have? How much better are you doing? Where do you want to go? Like, as long as you're content, or not even, I wouldn't say content because I hate that.
It's satisfied with your actions.
And what do you want next within reason?
Yes.
Set those goals for yourself.
But if you stripped everything away that you have, took everything away, but you still could do what you're doing and you could rebuild, you're okay with it.
Yeah. Like,
we're not saying go do something else.
No.
Like, you're in a good thing is that if the house burns down, you could rebuild it.
But that comes from fundamentals of you being a good person, knowing that you don't know it all, you're going to change, you're going to, those fundamental core values to stand by. You could be anything you want. You may not be,
but it's evolving from your experience.
Correct. Exactly. Yep. But it's, you can't be blind to those things either. A lot of people are blind to the fact that they have a certain skill or a mentality that they could utilize, but they utilize it the wrong way.
Yeah.
They fuck up their own skill. They burn their own house down,
So I saw the App Sumo. I can't remember the guy's name.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who founded App Sumo, he sold his company for billions.
I just gave them $80 yesterday.
Okay.
Literally.
The guy who founded this sold his company for billions.
Yep.
And then he started hanging out in that billionaire club.
Yep.
But then he was like, let me start a podcast because he was bored. He started interviewing all these billionaires. And all of them across the board, none of them sold another company for what they sold their first one for.
Yeah.
They all sold for billions, and then they never did it again.
Mm-hmm.
But that company that they sold for billions, it was based around one thing.
Correct.
And they didn't over diversify.
Mm-hmm.
They mastered one thing, put everything they had into it, built up its value, and then sold it. And then whenever they tried to do something outside of that, it didn't work because it wasn't their thing. That thing they sold was their thing. And everything else they're just playing with to waste time at that point.
But now they need it. In a sense, it's a blessing in disguise, because now that they sold that one for billions, they need losing businesses to keep that money anyway.
Yeah.
So it's kind of works either way.
But it's that weird thing where like too many people try and do too many things.
Yeah, hone in. Yeah.
Like just do what you're good at, man.
Sector fire, we call it in the military. Stay in your sector. If you're shooting over here, you're shooting over here. I'm shooting here.
Yes.
Sector fire. So it's true. I do it myself. That's why you said I'm a serial businessman. Like I do. Sometimes I stretch myself thin, but it's like a lot of it comes full circle. I need the studio.
But it's the same process.
Yeah, exactly. It's not.
I have multiple businesses too, but they're all related.
They're all an umbrella.
It's a holistic approach to one idea.
Yeah, like I'm not going to open a burger joint. That's not me. You know what I mean?
Unless you needed
I'll let somebody else run it.
Unless you needed to open it for taxes.
Correct.
But again, that's part of the loop.
Yep, for sure.
And that's the kind of thing too. The more you do this, the more you recognize where it's coming from, and you realize, okay, I need to keep watering this.
Correct.
And the other stuff, you could play with other ideas too. I mean, the thing some people know this with me, but I was a fine arts major in college. I went to the Maryland Institute College of Art. Okay. Everybody thinks me as the MMA guy, but I'm like, the craziest thing with me is if I'm painting, my energy's different when I'm coaching. Like, it's weird. When I'm coaching really heavy, I don't need to paint. When I'm painting really heavy, I don't need to coach. I choose to coach. It's weird. It's the same creative process to me, but I know my process. I know the itch I got to scratch, and I know the two things that can do it for me. Yep. And as long as I keep scratching correctly, I keep that satisfaction.
Yeah, and most people don't know that though. They're scratching everywhere. They're they don't know. They're patting themselves down.
You got to know who the fuck you are, man. Yep. But that's what gets you through it.
A lot of these people, not these people, a lot of people, they look in the mirror and they don't know who they are. They don't know. They're uncertain, or maybe they grew up that way. Maybe they weren't told who they can be. Maybe they haven't honed in on who they are yet, and that's a problem in itself, because you'll never figure that out if you don't start within.
And I think the most important part, I talk to so many people. These podcast episodes are so much fun for me, because I talk to a lot of people that have failed and found it, a lot of people that are in the middle of it, but there's this common thing, and it's not a conspiracy. It's not an Illuminati. It's not some weird thing. It's just waking up to the reality of, at some point, that the narrative you've been told is not the real thing. No. The real and like when people start thinking of all the conspiracy stuff, like you're saying, okay, we're talking about corporations, the military, these are not conspiracies. No, yeah. These are structural institutions so far removed from your life. Correct. They're affecting every aspect of your consumer existence, but it's not affecting you on a personal level. No. It's just how you can interact with commercial society. Correct. But we do have a lot of people that are giving us ideas that are not real, and we don't stop and look within because we're consuming so much stuff without. True. My art page, I have my art stuff. The one thing I always say is inspiration and perspiration, because the two of them are combined. Yeah. And then my tagline is create more, consume less. Yeah. True. So if you spend more time sweating due to what's inspiring you, and the more you create and the less you consume, you learn so much about yourself that you're prepared to go into the world.
Yeah.
You see the world through different eyes.
True.
You're not looking through it through somebody else's lens. You're looking at it through your lens. And that's what the hustle's about.
Yep.
Because when you go and it's your money and your brand and your conversation that gets that deal done,
Yep.
that's you, man.
Yeah, 100%.
You're not spitting somebody else's lyrics. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
I agree.
you're out there, you're having that brings you to your core, because
Yep.
when you're dealing with $1 billion manufacturing unit in Shanghai,
Yeah.
they don't give a fuck about your quotes you found on
No, I
Instagram
know who you
or
are.
or what you're wearing. They're like, how much money are you going to make me?
Yep.
And then they're going to look into your background and they're going to figure out, can you do it or not?
Correct.
And
Yep.
if you fuck that deal up one
Yep.
time, you will never get your phone call answered
No.
again.
And that's what's great about the position I'm in, is because I took all the things we talked about, learned who I was, and really can stand on that now and say, this is the guy you need to talk to.
Yeah.
You know? And that's what's great. I never thought, I'm 37. I've sold 60 million products in the last 24 months. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
I never thought I would ever do that, But it's now I'm in these conversations with multi-billion-dollar partnerships, huge companies that want our products that are actually impacting the world. And I have the first FDA cleared and approved rapid fentanyl test in the world.
So
Sole source.
that right there, is that your idea, or is that an idea that came to you and you're handling manufacturing on it?
So I'm the
You don't have to say it if I'm fucking anything up
No.
either.
I'm
'Cause I know how that gets.
I'm the exclusive veteran-owned distributor of this test
Okay.
in the world. So that's huge. So you get to use not only my designations to for different agencies to check off boxes. They have inclusion boxes and inclusion goals. So I'm a minority-owned business. I'm service-disabled veteran-owned business, veteran-owned business of the year, and I have all of the leg to stand on from when we did New York, FEMA, Boston. So now they're like, this is the small business it's not only a small business, but acts like a prime, a very large company, but we need to work with them.
But so you just rattle off a bunch of stuff, and that's like, some people are going to understand and some
most
people are not.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we could talk shit about the corporate world and the government, whatever. But the thing is, to get all these designations that you're talking about, these are real things.
Yeah.
This isn't, I started an Instagram account and I said I want to sell something.
Yeah, I'm not a blue check. I'm a blue check in real life.
But they look at every aspect of you.
Yeah, 100%.
And if this isn't just, like I try to explain to people, like, real business is like the federal government coming down on you for a real crime. Like,
no, really,
federal government knocks on your door. This is not a joke. Like, you can't lie on the paperwork.
No, I agree.
You can't go you can't inflate your value to get a credit card here. Like, no.
No, this due diligence is crazy. I did a 45-page report, or my assistant did the other day, on me being half black for a minority-owned business to be certified in New York. Every bank report, everything but my DNA I had to do.
Because it's jail time if you lie.
100%.
Like, this is, you dot the I's, you cross the T's for real.
But that goes from serving in the war, becoming a veteran, being a minority, doing all these other things that I've done along the way.
Yeah.
Now it's coming to a point where, like, this is what I've done all this for. When it sucked back then, this is what it was for. Now utilize all those hard times to be certified, do the job the right way, and make my life easier by making a good living, selling good products.
You remember 8 Mile?
Yeah, of course. Yep.
You remember when he like basically starts off, he spits out everything he did wrong.
Yep.
And like, that's who I am.
Yeah.
And then he crushes it.
Yeah.
That's life.
True.
At a certain point, if you can honestly own all the mistakes and then point out all the things you learned from it, you are now a person of value.
Yeah, because you've recognized your faults and flaws, and then then that's when you can change.
And the strength that comes from recognizing those things is different too, because it's a different level of humility. Because a lot of people throw around big words that they don't know the meanings to, but like when you're living those choices, it's different. And the thing is, there's so many people that talk, but there's so much talk that they consume and they just regurgitate. But when you see the things people are actually doing in the world and how they're living, that's the truth, though. But that's the truth. So, like, look, you pulled up in a nice car. You live in a nice place.
But I could care less about
No. But the thing is, like, you've acquired a lot of things, but you could show the roadmap of how you acquired them.
Correct.
And you could also show that they didn't ruin your ability to do what you're doing by acquiring them and all this stuff too.
Nope.
So like you've made progress, but you've made structure
Correct.
that's going to last beyond you.
And honestly, to touch on that point, that's been me, right? So like I said with the sneakers,
Yeah.
that was the only thing I had to express myself right back then. So I always made sure it was a cleaner sneaker, a newer sneaker, a better sneaker, whatever. That was me. Then when everybody had a bicycle, I had a GoPed. When everybody had a GoPed, I had a dirt bike. When everybody had a dirt bike, I had a street bike. You know,
Yeah.
like I've always been, that's just who I am. I like cars. I like fast things. I could give a fuck less about that. It doesn't make me who I am, you know?
Yeah.
And most people think, you know, oh, you're so lucky. I am lucky to have obtained a goal that I had as a kid. That car was my goal. I used to shine up a small little miniature one of that in my dad's office because he owned a detail shop.
Yeah.
Then I detailed the same car for Louis DeVito, DJ back in the day. Detailed his Lambos, and I was like, I gotta get this when I'm older. You know, so like that car is great. That was my first goal when I first made some real money, but I don't care about it.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a car though. I've had minivans, I had pickup trucks, I've had every shit vehicle that anybody that really knows me. So it's but that's always been me. But again, the structure to get that and the things I've done to accomplish those goals are small to me now.
The structure part is the one when we're young or inexperienced or just plain ignorant. We don't see that the structure is the thing. Structure is what you can scale.
Correct.
You can't scale hustle. Like you can't scale petty hustle.
Correct.
You can only scale structure that you could hire into. You can scale stuff that you can train people. You can trust people. It's building blocks. You can only do what you can do.
Correct.
You have to be in an arena that has growth potential, and then you have to be able to have your business incrementally expand. And that expansion is not money, it's people. Like one of the coolest things for me was an employee got a new car.
Yep.
I was like, I did that.
Yeah, exactly.
I did that.
Yeah.
You know, like those are those little moments. Like if you can embrace these things and provide high level service. Whew.
And that's one of my favorite things throughout this. So like I built that house. I built the house, 2 houses at the same time. And I try to choose everyone that I could that I grew up with. So one of my electricians, actually, this guy Joe, he wasn't doing good for a while. He was way out there, changed his life around, been great for years now. I ended up hiring him, and then same thing. We went through the process, and he rolled up in a brand new truck, you know, a work truck full of tools. I'm like, I bought that, you know what I mean? But I'm super proud of him for making those.
And
decisions.
that's why I like, dude, fuck your Instagram videos and bullshit. I'm so sick of it.
Yep.
Like,
all fake.
do something.
Yeah.
Fucking do something real.
And that's the thing.
And I don't mean to like spitting so aggressive, but man, we live in such a weird ass time where so many people are pushing these false agendas. And I'm like, yo,
you don't do that in real life.
That's not,
it's not
and like, you're not inspiring anybody. You're motivating people to not actually do the work.
And you're not but a lot of those people, I'm like, this is literally you took 100 pictures to get this shot. That's not even real.
Yeah.
And if I was to or anybody was to really back you in a corner, it's all smoke and mirrors. Like I would say if I had to say one thing about me is that you will never, ever back me in a corner and tell me I didn't do something that I said I did.
Yeah.
From the street life to the business, to the army, to the really about action. That's who I am. And if I say it, I've done it. You know what I mean? And everybody knows me, knows I've done it, you know? So I that's where my pride comes from is just be real. Like, I don't care what you do in life. Just be authentic at what you do.
Yeah.
People are full of shit.
My thing is, I tried to structure my life. I have goals and things I want to achieve in my business, but my biggest one at this particular juncture is I want to have the freedom to be able to spend time the way I want to spend it with my family.
Correct.
My kids are my everything.
Yep.
And I could make more money if I did less things with my kids, but I don't give a fuck. I want to do what I want to do with my kids.
But you're also a huge role, and I see your videos. I see how you're also.
And I hate I'm shitting on videos, but I have a big social presence, but it's authentically my presence, man.
Yeah, but you're putting something into the world that's of value, not fucking clapping your ass cheeks on the, you know what I mean, or just stupid shit, you know, doing pulling pranks on your friend because it gets you paid. Like you're putting something of value, you know, something showing your kids and your kids involved in the fighting. Like you're giving them a role model.
I'll give you a moment.
I never had a real role model like that. Like I never really had a male figure as a role model, like at all. My dad, like good, whatever, but like never really had a real true male role model. So for you to be that to not only your kid, but a lot of the people in the gym, that's a big accomplishment. Man.
I got 2 things from last weekend. I had a kid fought and won last weekend that literally it took everything within this entire gym to get this kid into that damn ring.
Yeah.
And he's a Neptune kid.
Yeah.
Had so much trauma getting in the way of him even getting an opportunity to be successful. Yep. And then getting him in there. The inspiration for us as a squad, like, he did it.
Yeah.
He won. We got him in there. He pushed when he was tired. Like, we were like, oh my God, we did it. And then he was just like, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah.
I can't believe that was so hard. I didn't quit. I've never done anything like that before in my life.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that
spark.
I'm hoping it's the beginning of new choices for him.
Yeah.
But my second thing on that was my son came. My son's 10. My son, so we have fights on Saturday. My son had a guitar recital on Sunday. And we're driving back, and he goes, Dad, you know, I'm driving back from Delaware, by the way, so it was a little bit of drive. Mm-hmm. But he goes, you know, I'm really nervous about guitar. And I was like, oh, you're going to be fine. He goes, yeah, I know I'm going to be fine. Because I saw those guys get in there. I saw them all fight. And I said, if they can do that, I can play this damn guitar for a couple minutes. And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly the crossover. And honestly, man, when you see real people do real things and you see like people investing in each other, this is where the strength and the hope and all the good things that come out of life are. Like, that's where the inspiration is. I like seeing stuff that you're disconnected from. It's cool to have ideas, but it's that practical reality and recognizing the little victories all around you all the time and coming together around that. Yep. That's where the secret is.
You know, I really I talk to myself every day, like out loud. Like I'll be in the car, I'll be like, I'm thankful for driving by the beach. I'm thankful for breathing today. I'm thankful for this car. I'm thankful for the sun. Like I literally did it on the way here. Like I have to remind myself, because you get wrapped up in the rat race of like, I need to do more. I need to do more. And the ADHD is 10 times on top of that. But, you know, you have to stop and look around and be like,
dude,
you know,
gratitude is a real thing, man.
If it's good, it's good.
But gratitude is a real thing.
It's very important.
A lot of people miss that. None of us have any of the things we have by ourselves.
Yep.
We don't live in that bubble we were talking about.
Yep.
Like, you're on this planet with all these people, and somehow you were fortunate enough to have experience that wrapped up with your DNA and your upbringing and whatever that put you into this moment. Like, we're lucky to be where we are. Yep. As much as we are where we are because of the work we did. But there's a lot of things that happen to make us who we are. And that's where I'm like, man, I'm just very fortunate to be in the position that I'm in, where I can take the steps that I'm taking and live the life that I'm living. I never really thank myself. I'm always like, it's just this life, man.
Yeah. It's
just this life.
It's the beginning of the next chapter, the beginning of the next thing. You can make it a good one. You could close out the last one horrible. You could start a new one. You could rewrite it. But most people, you know, they don't even know which way to go. They don't even have the fucking pen. You know what I mean? Like, they'd rather read your book instead of writing their own
and
book.
That's the problem. That's the creation versus
Comparison.
consumption aspect of it. And that's where it's just so important, is that I want to live as a creator.
Yeah.
And I want to create good things.
Yeah.
I don't want to create wealth off hurting people. I don't want to create wealth off distraction. I don't want to inspire people to do less.
Correct.
And
well, your job is to bring out and hone in on either a God-given talent that you may be scared to bring into the ring, like you just said, or groom someone to bring out that talent and to be of value to the game.
Okay, that's your definition of it. That's my definition of it, but that's the definition that I choose to have. It's not always the definition, though.
True.
There's a lot of predatory shit going on in my business the same way as yours.
Exactly.
There's predators everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't care what you do. You can choose to be a person of communal value or individual value. So if you're a lot of people go into a lot of things only looking to benefit themselves while selling the idea that they're benefiting people, but they manipulate to get what they want. And that's why I honestly, like, I'm not perfect. I've fucked up before. I'll fuck up again. I'm no saint. I'm trying.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. I'm trying.
And you're doing good.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
Doing great. Honestly, like,
I appreciate that.
It's important. It really is important to have integrity, do the right thing. Like you said, you have a duty to the people around you. You know, that's your job, that's their mission. You're giving value. People just take, and they're only good at face value.
Yeah.
There's no real value there. That's like being rich and being wealthy. Like, you might be rich for a couple of years, you might be rich for a little bit, but I want to be wealthy within me.
No, you could have money
soul.
or you could be wealthy.
Yeah, but I'm saying I want to be wealthy with everything around me.
Yeah.
Money is a tool.
Yeah.
Money is a tool within wealth. Like, money's money. Money's a hammer. You know what I mean?
But it's like what I mean that from like an analogy. It's like you could have money in hand or you could have stuff that's gonna fuel you forever.
Forever, yeah. Money could be gone tomorrow. You know what I mean? It ain't worth shit anyway right now. So.
People say to me at times, they're like, sometimes I'll do stuff and they're like, are you sure you could do that? I'm like, look, if we got to this point, we're going to get to the next one.
And you have to, maybe I'm not sure that I can do that, but I'm going to figure out a way along the way.
Absolutely.
What am I going to do? Fail or go back to the start point and reclimb the mountain again? So what?
That right there, I love to put myself in a position where I have to.
Yep. Definitely.
Because when you have to,
you have no choice.
It's different.
The military was
the day roll is different.
Pass, fail, go, no go, yes and yes. Like, there was no. If it was no, you're either dead in a battle or in a combat zone or theater. You're dead, and in training, you're out of here. So it's either do everything you said that you could do or push yourself to do that. But there's no. There's a pass or fail,
and no pity parties.
No,
and that's
the thing. People want to be coddled. They got these fucking 18th place.
I don't think that people want to be coddled, man. I honestly don't. I don't necessarily think they want to.
No, they need to.
But I think it's the easy acceptable path. And it's the path that, like, if you're in the wrong herd, that's what it pulls you towards.
But the difference between, poor you, blah, blah, or that's all right. You scraped your knee, bro. Get up. Now you're stronger. You got that scar to remember is going to get you to the next race. A lot of these people are more just.
But again, you have the experience for that.
I agree.
But I feel bad for people that have experience that doesn't challenge them.
Yeah.
That they have that experience, like, oh, you shouldn't be challenged. The bubble wrap mentality. Yep. If you bubble wrap yourself all the time and you never feel a little bit of pain, what's the point?
Pain is what they used to say. Pain is weakness leaving the body.
So my grandfather was a big time football coach.
Yeah.
And my grandfather had this thing he used to tell all of his players, because guys would get banged up, and he goes, okay, are you in pain or are you hurt? Because if you're in pain, get your ass back out there. Yeah. If you're hurt, go see the doctor.
Correct.
And if you go to the doctor and they say you're not broken, your ass is back out on the field. Like, because I tell people all the time with the fighting, these guys, I had a bunch of guys, first-time fighters going in, and I said to all of them, I was like, look, this is going to hurt. Yeah. But it's going to be a cardio hurt.
Yeah.
Because your stress is going to put you in a position where you're going to be walking in there feeling like you have a 50-pound pack on and you're breathing through a straw. Yep. That's just what stress does. Yeah, stress. So you have to understand that you're not broken. You're just in pain. Yep. If you give into that pain and you let that pain change you, you're going to lose.
Let that adrenaline kick in.
But if you push through that pain, you have a chance to win. You decide what you want to live with. You want to live with a little bit of pain that broke you or a little bit of pain that you pushed through. And those are the moments when you learn how to push. Yep. That's the difference, man.
I don't ever want to live with regret of anything. I think I watched a study like they went to different nursing homes and long-term care of the elderly. And the number one thing was, I should have done more. I regret this. I regret that. Obviously, we're all going to regret certain things, but I feel like you don't have to have a lot of money to put your all out there. You don't have to have a lot of money to, give things a try and see what you like and to, see what makes you tick instead of looking at the next person and being like, well, they're doing this, so let me just do that with them. Like, I'm not about that. I've never been about that.
I don't think I'm going to have regrets about what I drove. I think I'm going to have if I'm going to ever have regrets, it's going to be some kind of people relation You know,
Yep.
my father just had a quadruple bypass. It was very successful. Everything
Yeah.
was good, but in the moment, that was a hell of a shocker. When your parents are sick like that,
Yep.
and they're like my dad's 75, that's scary as fuck. Because you're like the reality of there's going to be an end to your parent being there
Yeah.
sets in, and you're like, whoa.
Yep.
And I went down. My dad lives in Florida, and I spent a couple days down there, and I spent a lot of time in the hospital. And that was one of those moments where it just solidified the fact that it's like, okay, I could have said, hey, Dad, give me a call. Let me know if you're okay. But I got on a plane and I went down there. I saw him. I spent time with him. I had conversations with him. And it was nothing groundbreaking, but it was like, it was a really important moment for both of us just to be there in this time.
Yep. Yep.
And if I'm ever going to have regrets, it'll always be if someone was in need, if there was some kind of big moment and I didn't take the time away from the job to go be there.
No, that's where I'm at with my own father. My dad's 78. I'm the youngest of 13 kids on his kids. And, you know, I don't want to put his business out there, but, you know, he didn't make all the right decisions. I'm the baby, and I'm basically take care of him. You know what I mean? And we don't really have the best relationship as far as, you know, he lives 500 yards from my house. We don't go out anywhere.
Yeah.
We don't really spend time together. We grew up together working for him, whatever. I love him. You know, he's my father, but at the same time, it's like I'm in an internal conflict of I got to be the one extending the hand now to take care of you, but I still have things you didn't take care of for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like those conversations that I want to have that I'll probably never have, you know?
Yep.
And I'm spending money and it's, hey, can you help me with that? Can you help me with this? I'm like, you know, it's a hard thing, but I don't, again, like you said, my biggest thing is my mom raised me right. I don't want to ever have regret to be like, damn, I did him dirty. I could have gave him that $5,000.
Yeah.
I could have gave him this, that, or the other, you know? So it's a constant tug of war where I'm at with the same thing, but same end all is I don't want to have that regret, you know?
As a dad for me, man, I can tell you that the thing that changed me with my parents was when I have my sons and I see how I am with my sons, the one thing I realized, being a parent doesn't come with an instruction manual, man. This shit's hard.
Yep.
And I truly believe that people do the best they can with the experience that they've been afforded in life.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone really sets out to fuck up their relationship with their kids.
I agree.
And I let go of any of the ill feelings that I had. And that's why, like, no matter what's gone down with my parents, I'm just like, they're my parents. I love my parents. It's not like this, oh, I forgive you shit. It's literally like, I'm just going to let this stuff go.
Yeah.
I'm going to be my own man. I'm going to let them be their own people. And I'm going to interact with them in a way that I can just be comfortable with the relationship kind of thing.
I agree.
And yeah, man, like that's these things we learn in life. Cause if we carry too much negativity, bad shit happens.
I agree. It's again, you know, it's just one of those catch-22s.
Yeah, man.
Know? Like I shouldn't do this, but I feel like I should do this, you know, and it is what it is.
But we got to overcome our upbringing.
Yeah, and that's why I said I have to be the one to break the chains. I can't hurt people. I know that, you know, they've had their own struggles as adolescents and didn't get things dealt with, and maybe they didn't have the tools to get to where they needed to be. But, you know, I can't pass that along. I don't have kids, but I can't let that keep going and continue. I can only do what I can.
And the thing about that too is, you know, that idea of breaking chains, being the one that doesn't have the historical ending from the same kind of beginning, whatever, to be able to maintain those changes. Because a lot of guys will get themselves out of the initial situation, but it's the structure again. We keep coming back to that structure. It's that structure that allows you to scale your life the same way you scale a business. So the people that you let into your life, the people that you trust, the people that you invest in, the teaching that you give to the right people, all that kind of stuff. You make mistakes. You bring bad people in. People are going to screw you. People are going to do shit. That's going to happen. But the majority of your work has got to be there to lift people up. And at some point, a group of them are going to subscribe.
Oh, 100%.
And then you're all going to be subscribed together. And then that structure starts to develop. And then you build and it grows and good shit happens. And then they start doing it on their end. So then it starts to grow even more. And then it's not a pyramid anymore. Now it's like that rising tide.
Correct. And that's really it. You find your tribe, you know, find your team, build them up. And they build me up too. You know, I learned things that I have my strong suits. I have my weak points as well. They complement me. I complement them. But anybody that you ask, I mean, I've helped so many people. I still answer everybody's message, even people I shouldn't talk to. I'm like, let me give them 5 seconds, man. Like, I don't ever want to be that asshole. Like, oh,
That's
you got money. I'm like, no, there's nothing to do with any of that. I'm still me.
But that's that swinging for the fences. You're going to have a lot of strikeouts, but every once in a while you hit the home run, and the home run's really important. You can't stop swinging because somebody fucking struck you out.
No. And
you just got to keep doing it.
My home run wasn't making money. My home run wasn't selling the products. It was just doing something that I never thought I would be able to do, and helping all the people along the way that I have and continue to help, even if it's just lending a word or being like, yo, I say it all the time, I'm not a fucking superhero. You know what I mean? Like, by any means, like by any means. And my biggest goal right now is to get my fat ass back in shape. So like,
but that's
my goal. Though.
But that's
a $1 billion goal to me.
And you know what? A lot of times we lose aspects of ourselves to the hustle. And we do have to recognize when that's happening too. And that's where, for me, like, my kids are my grounding thing. Because I mean, I'm gonna be 50 and I'm like, shit, man. My kids are young. I want to be there.
Yeah, longevity.
I want to see them. I want to see them grow up. I don't want this to.
I can make $100 million. I won't be able to spend it if I'm not in the right spot. And I used to be in great shape. I was always an athlete, but
life catches up to you sometimes,
it does,
man.
You know, that's why I'm sweating every day now. But it's
that hustle
that would be
that hustle can be all consuming sometimes, and that's the balance part. You can't lose your humanity in the search of whatever. But you got to that point now. You're getting to that point where you created the opportunity, and now the balance starts to come back in. I
can afford the time to go downstairs and work out. I can take time to take a walk. Like, you can't do that in a 9 to 5. No. You know what I mean? You got to be
or
there,
a 9
to
9.
Yeah, 9 to 9 or whatever. Yeah,
and in the hustle, man, when you build it up, it is 9 to 9. So don't anybody think when we're talking about 9 to 5s that we took an easier path? Because fuck, man, this is a long ass day when your phone never stops.
Never. Mine's 25/8. And I have to deal with 100%. Different countries, so 13-hour difference. You know. But it's I don't ever shit on a 9 to 5. I won't. I think there's a lot more 9 to 5 people that have a lot more talent in them that may not have the confidence to get out of that 9 to 5 that could give more to the world. But again, that all comes with, you know, whatever effort you want to put into you. Do you want to take the leap? And that's really it, is taking the chance to express yourself and not just be fit into this 9 to 5 schedule. This is what you do to make a living. What do you want to do? What are you going to give to the world? What do you enjoy doing is really the question for a lot of people. I don't think, and the majority probably will never know the answer, or at least never experience what we experience doing what we love.
And that's not being pessimistic. That is truly being realistic.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, it has to be thrown out there, because I kind of say that as a realist, that's the challenge. Yeah. I'm an agnostic. I believe what I believe until you give me reason to change my mind. And I'm open to having my mind changed.
Yeah. I agree. It's fear has killed more dreams than probably anything. You know, it's in the beginning I don't even like this. I didn't even like podcasts. Like I don't like public speaking for some reason. But if we're talking, having a conversation about things I like, I'll talk all day. But reading off a script, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. It's one of my biggest fears, to be honest with you. But I didn't go to college. Those are the things I missed with college. I didn't go to college. I didn't have to make presentations, but I'm presenting to multi-billion-dollar corporations, knowing the facts of what I do and what I provide.
Well, you have the confidence of the work you've done.
And I'm good, because I know what I'm doing. But it's we all have our weak points and whatnot, but we got to hone in on them. And what do they say? How do you face the demons in the night? Or best way to face the demons in the night, just turn around. You know?
Yeah,
so
man.
It truly is. It's a choice. You know, you can go with the norm. You can follow the crowd, follow the herd. Or you can go off on your own. I'd rather cut the fucking woods down than to take the easy path.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Listen, I appreciate you coming in. Shout out to everybody. Let them know how they can follow you. What's like something you want to promote? Anything you got going on?
I got a lot going on. So I own NJF Worldwide, but we have a couple umbrella companies as well. We do have NJF Studios in Freehold, New Jersey. We have NJF Estates, which is our Airbnb villa in Aruba. And then if you're in any government projects or manufacturing and distribution, check us out at njfworldwide.com. And we're all over the internet, all over the gram. So you can find us.
So this is Brian Wright with Ryan Leonard. This was the Hive podcast. You can find all of our episodes at thehivecast.com. You can find out about Killer B at Killer B CSA, basically on all social platforms. You can find our website, killerbcombatsports.academy. That's how you find us in Oakhurst. So, Ryan, again, thanks for coming in. I appreciate the conversation. And guys, listen, the main point of this whole project is just to talk about what's possible. As long as you are honest about what that process is, you trust it, and you put the work in, you can basically come from anywhere and you can do anything, man.
You could do anything. Trust me.
All right, man. I appreciate you coming through. This is Brian Wright and the Hive podcast. We are out.
Peace.